So good morning. Welcome back for day two. See, we haven't scared anyone off. My name is Chris McNulty. I'm a senior product manager on the Microsoft 365 team. I specialize in content management, enterprise content services, which we're not talking about at all this week, and business applications. In particular, the integrations that we have between our business apps tools, PowerApps, Flow, Forms, and Lists, with the rest of Microsoft 365. So today we're going to begin by taking a look at how we really think about business process and what the critical elements are when we take our business apps tools and bring them into M365. One of the key things that we think is really important that we've found in our research in helping change the way work gets done is introducing Microsoft Teams. Microsoft Teams solves a lot of issues that people have had historically when they work with Office 365 about what tool to use when. And when we talk to enterprises that have been working with our on-premises tools and how they uplift them into the cloud, they're always looking to prove that they've brought new value to their internal users. I am going to turn this off. This thing is... Yep. I've got a video later. We'll plug it in for that. Enterprises need something more than just saying, your information used to be in a data center that you owned, and now we've moved it to a data center that Microsoft owned, but otherwise your users won't see the difference. And one of the key tools that we have to transform the way business process is delivered is through Microsoft Teams. We have great integrations for PowerApps and Flow into Teams, and we'll take a look at some of those today. PowerApps, obviously, across M365 is our key investment. We've taken a heavy reliance on PowerApps as our forms design and app design tool across Office 365. Microsoft Flow is unparalleled in its ability to orchestrate processes and workflow, and in particular to be the connection engine, to be that connective tissue that sits among all the different services you have in Office 365, the rest of Microsoft Cloud, and beyond. We also really see, and it's important to understand this, SharePoint is central to our mission for how Microsoft 365 transforms the workplace. It is an incredibly fast-growing engine with, I'll get in trouble if I say how many millions of users we have, but SharePoint lists and libraries are the centralized repository for everything we do in Office 365, and it is the data source of record that you have when you were deploying PowerApps and Flow out into an Office 365 audience. And of course, using Flow, using PowerApps, we're able to bring tool sets in such as Power BI, Microsoft Graph, and cognitive services elements such as AI Builder. SharePoint, as I said, sits right at the heart of how all of that information lives inside Office 365. What we have with lists and libraries, we use it to empower tool sets like employee engagement with the websites that we build throughout it, and being able to drive file collaboration through tools like the Office client or through OneDrive. But in particular, and of interest to this audience, is what we can really do with lists. Lists are a great data source that provide up to 30 million items in a single blow that you're able to use to deliver impactful flows and Power Apps around the organization. And of course, SharePoint sits on the Office 365 backend across our network of Azure data centers with security, AI, extensibility capabilities throughout. One slide I wanted to borrow from our SharePoint conference last month just to make a point about some of the investments that we have in scaling. In addition to the raw capacity that we have, we've done an awful lot of work optimizing Office 365 to be able to deliver lightning-fast performance based on just a year ago, based on the metrics that we have inside of service engineering. We're seeing file access speeds running 10 times faster than before. In general, users are seeing 3 times faster performance. We've reduced the speed of indexing on new files so that you can expect to see new things showing up inside of the graph inside seconds. And of course, we have intrinsic support now for over 320 file types throughout the service. Not just the conventional Office files and PDF, but DICOM and AutoCAD and just about any file that you can imagine. If you plug it in, we have native viewers and browsers so that you can see thumbnails and start working with those files, even if you don't have a client installed. When we think about the business apps tooling that we have, it's important to understand that there's a range of flexible solutions. Over on the right, professional development tools. We expect that if you are composing applications and you're a professional developer, the toolkit that you have is going to include things with the Microsoft Graph and with SharePoint Framework, all of the capabilities that we have from Azure, including the Common Data Service. Over here on the left, for everyday usage, anyone in the line of business should be able to get started being able to build applications using sites, using pages, using lists and libraries, using tools like forms, and being able to compose those into web parts. It's here in the middle distance where the no-code, low-code revolution is really interesting. People who we're calling solutionists, being able to compose powerful apps using tools like conditional formatting, automation inside of flows, and being able to use PowerApps to be able to generate forms, as well as being able to generate immersive applications that bind all that information together and being able to deliver that out inside of Microsoft Teams. So I want to start a little bit by showing you some of the capabilities we have with lists using formatting. Let me jump over to number 7. Need to see my email. Okay. So one of the things that we've done, we understand that an awful lot of business process begins with Excel. And a little later on, I'm going to show you how the application that we've composed using Power Apps and Lists here was built. But it's important to understand what my raw capabilities are just for being able to get information into Office 365 so I can start working with it. So I'm going to come here into Site Contents and say that I want to create a new list. Stores for investment, we'll call the list. And so some of the capabilities that we have let me look at the structure of existing lists that might already live in my organization, and I can pick up one of these and copy it in. But I can also work with Excel. And an awful lot of business data, as we mentioned before, begins life in Excel. So let's pick up our list of store locations. This is bugging me. This is bugging you? Okay. So what we can see is Office 365 is able to interrogate the structure of that Excel file. And it's made some intelligent guesses about how I want to bring this data in. I can view the data. And I can also make changes to the data structure that I have there. So I can say this is going to be a choice field. Let's change country to a choice field. I have some comments from last year that I can decide not to import. And I can see my budget figures. It looks like a number, but I know it's currency. So I can say that. Create. It may take a few minutes. It may take a few seconds. It may take all day. If the demo gods are nice to us, lo and behold, here we have our list brought over so I can start doing impactful business app creation capabilities here. One of the things that we've added recently is the ability to add conditional formatting on top of any one of my columns. So if I come in here and take a look at this and say that I want to format this column, you'll see I have the option to say I want to change background colors. And I can say it sees what's out there. If I wanted to edit those colors, I can, but let's just apply that to it. I can also apply some other conditional formats here. Let's go and take a look at this view. And we have a rules engine that's here, and we can say if, for example, one of the fields that we see out there country is equal to Canada, with respect to our Raptors fans that are out there. Let's say we want to fill it with red, save it, and lo and behold, we're going to start being able to add those formats. Let's scroll down. I think Canada's further down in this list. Yeah, it's going to start filling that for me automatically. So we can start to build some impactful formats for people right here inside of the tool. The core capabilities that I have that let me start to light things up inside of Office 365, if I wanted to reach out to Flow, I can come in here and say that I can create a flow and expose the whole range of templates that are there for me. I can also start to be able to create Power Apps here on the fly. And the quick answer for being able to build a Power App starts with coming here and saying, I want to customize a form. This is going to use Power Apps to launch the template generator and be able to build a single screen app for me. It applies the Office fabric, so it's going to inherit an Office look and feel. And the template wizard is thinking things up. It is looking at what my security context is, what all of my data connections on the page were, so it can bring those into the templated app that I have here. I always feel like I don't want to slow this part of the process down by moving my mouse. We can see in the background it's gone and detached the form. It's saving it for me, and I'm going to have a fairly plain vanilla view of this form. I can come in here and start making customizations. I can say, for instance, if I don't really want to show the address, I can remove it. If I want the budget to come up to the top, I can. If I want to pick a 2-column layout, let's do that. Let's blow this up a little more so folks in the back or with my eyes can see. I'm going to make a trivial change to this. I'm going to just drag this over. Say I want to fill the background dark blue. Black on dark blue looks highly readable, doesn't it? Let's make this white. So we've made a simple change to the form. Save it. And saving it registers it into the Power Platform. So there's a full version history on this form. And then if I choose to publish it, that's what makes it there and visible to users on that list. So now if I click one of these items, Power Apps is going to come up in this responsive panel on the right and be used to render this so I can have a native form view that I can bring directly into the Office 365 canvas. So let's jump back here. Oh, tell them I said hi. Okay. So we took a quick look at some of the things that we can do inside lists. One of the key takeaways to keep in mind is lists can store up to 30 million items at a time. We handle the indexing on the back end, so you don't have to think about it administratively. If you were used to the way that this worked on premises, where we gave you a 5,000 item list, so long as you're in the modern view in Office 365, those throttles should be a thing of the past for you. We have capabilities that allow a user to search and drill down and use filtering in a number of formats, including the quick edit view, which lets users stay in that familiar grid format for working with information. You can customize views with the inline formatting, as well as more advanced formatting using the SharePoint framework APIs. As data gets changed, everything is updated live, so people don't need to refresh, and you can embed those lists into any other web page as you need them. It's very easy to help users get started by being able to bring data in from Excel, as well as being able to pick things up from other lists, as we saw in the demo. And also, I can embed lists inside Teams. We've got a great browser inside Teams. We're going to take a look at that in just a few seconds for how you can, without cutting and pasting and asking users to remember URLs, instantiate a new view of a list anywhere I need inside of the Teams framework as a tab inside any channels where I need it to appear. And this allows me to bring all that information to one centralized location. As organizations deploy Teams to users for desk users, as well as mobile and first-line workers, being able to bring everything in the context of the team where they're doing most of their work makes it really helpful for them. And conditional formatting allows, as we saw, allows me to start adding color coding for ranges. We can get very sophisticated. We have a little more sophistication in the example we're going to look at here in just a minute. Okay, on to applications. So the first tool I just want to mention, and we'll look at it quickly in demo, is Microsoft Forms. Microsoft Forms has millions and millions and millions of users, and it can be your best friend for getting some of the most lightweight data gathering and capture scenarios solved. The naming that we have across some of our tools we know is sometimes confusing. The Office 365 tool for Forms is called PowerApps, and the Office 365 tool for surveys and quizzes is called Forms. I wish I could take credit for that. The key thing with Forms to think about is it's a great way if you need to capture data, and in particular if you need to capture data outside of organizational boundaries, capture it anonymously, send it out via email or a quick QR code or being able to embed something on a public-facing web page. Microsoft Forms allows you to quickly stand up and start gathering information that's stored in a centralized Azure cloud service that I can then light up with Flow, or I can do more by just bringing the information down in Excel if we want to model it. At Microsoft, we make tremendous use of Forms for event registration. When we need to reach out to customers and partners, or we're doing an event on campus, I can see one of my colleagues in the room who knows about this quite well. We make heavy use of this to be able to send a form out and say, are you coming? What's your shirt size? What's your favorite kinds of food? So that I can completely ignore those things and give people no swag and no food when they come to campus for a meeting, but at least they felt like they were getting it, so they showed up in the first place. That's the key mission of Microsoft Forms, disappointing customer, no. That's my job. Forms can also be directly embedded inside of any web page in Office 365, and using the Forms bot, we can bring those business capabilities into Teams, as we'll see here in demo in just a few minutes. We quickly talked before about being able to wire up custom forms, and we're going to take a look behind the scenes of a slightly more sophisticated custom form in a couple of seconds. The key thing here is we've got built-in browser forms that you can use to render your business data living inside of lists and libraries. You can use the Flow connection to be able to bring in other data sources into those forms, and being able to deliver that richly directly to where users are hanging out inside SharePoint and inside Teams. Another common integration scenario that's important for us to emphasize is the PowerApps web part. For a very simple application integration, if you have already built an immersive Power App and its data source lives outside of Office 365, it may in fact live outside of Microsoft entirely. It may be based on data that lives in Salesforce or Google or somewhere else, but you have a front end and you want to start integrating it. You don't necessarily need to disrupt any of those back-end systems. The data can stay resident where it is, and you can use the PowerApps web part to be able to deploy that Power App directly into the canvas. The example we have here is actually a real example we use inside Microsoft when our CEO, Satya Nadella, has his monthly employee town hall meetings. Although given the size of campus, I think City Hall is probably would be a better name for it. There's a Power App that people can use on campus to be able to propose questions for Satya to answer, such as, why does Chris McNulty keep disappointing customers and keep a job with the company? That's a question Satya has not yet asked or answered on stage, hopefully. But you can also, when we are delivering a web experience around those town hall meetings, we embed the Power App directly on the page, as you've seen here, so that you can make sure that in context, if people are looking for what's happening at the next meeting, they can also supply their questions right there without having to move to a different application. Another thing we'll also look here right now is Power Apps integration to Teams. We've got direct support to let you browse and find any Power App that's out there and being able to inject them into any team channel as a tabbed application. Today, most of that support is Canvas apps, and most Canvas apps tend to be non-responsive. One of the elements that's on the roadmap slide that I'll put up later that everyone will take a picture of and I'll have to get out of the way for because that's the way roadmap slides work. We are expecting to land responsive design for Canvas apps in the second half of the year. And that's really important for accessibility and for being able to get to different form factors. It's incredibly important for Teams deployments because we know in Teams deployments almost half the usage is coming on mobile form factors. And having to build two different versions of the same form or the same app so that I can plug it into someone who's going to be looking at it on their phone is a bit of a struggle. So that'll be coming soon. We'll take a look at that integration here in just a second. Okay. So let's look at some of the support for Teams integration and for some custom forms. So here I am inside of a Teams view. You can see I have multiple channels. You're not seeing it. Oh, great. We're on 7. There's Teams. Okay, so I'm in my retail team. I'm on the general channel. If I want to add a Power App, that's a kind of tab that I can add anywhere I am inside Teams. I can pick up the Power App tab control. Welcome to Power Apps. You need to set a few things up, and it'll be available for the team. Well, this is auspicious. There we go. So I can browse and I can see all of the apps that are available for me based on my security and what's been published to me. I can go and grab this Productivity Studio app, which I just grabbed. And so this is a full immersive app. It reaches out to a number of data sources that live outside the scope of the team. It's got a CDS database behind the scene and a couple of SharePoint lists behind the scene. And I'm able to add this app and be able to deploy it directly to anyone inside Teams who's working inside of this tab and are able to carry these things forward. I also want to go over here into the planning application. Here, one of the things that you'll see is I am able to introduce the quick ability. You'll see up here on the screen something that was done inside of Forms. Say which locations would benefit from an executive tour in Q3. There's a forms designer I can get to through forms.office.com, and I can copy the URL and paste it in. But the forms bot has already been added to this team. And in the forms bot, all I have to do is if I have a new question, and we can say @forms, and spelling does count. It asks me, it's showing me things that I can do. And one of the things I can do is say, Stanley Cup Game 7 winner. Blues, Bruins. Those of you who know me know that that's not really a question, but I am from Boston, but let's push that in. And the forms bot is going to think about that. And if we click here for new messages, you'll see it's rendered that for me as an adaptive card where anyone who's here can come along and pick. I will prove that I can be equal opportunity. Click on Blues. It's not really me, it's Megan. It's my alter ego, so I guess I can justify it that way. And I can take this and I can also pin it to make sure that anyone who goes to the channel is going to see that so they can vote on that and be able to start capturing data right in there. And of course, it's stored behind the scenes with the same capabilities that we were talking about before. I also want to take a quick look at what a more sophisticated form is. So here we have our storefront view. So this is a SharePoint list. It originally began life inside of Excel. We've attached images into it. Those images are wired up using Azure Cognitive Services to a custom image recognition model so that when I'm opening up a storefront here, Let me just use a Teams capability so I can expand my screen real estate. So all of the required indicators are being automatically sensed using Azure Cognitive Services to say, hey, here's the storefront. We've got all three required elements. We have a fleece, we have a surfboard, we have a bike. So this is definitely the kind of thing that is approved. I also have integrated information that's coming here from Power BI, so I can see what statistics, what the current run rate of spend has been with the vendor who sets up these displays for me, as well as the most recent invoice, taking advantage of our new forms recognition capabilities and cognitive services to be able to pick up the details of this invoice, and I can recognize here's the ID, here's tax, here's what the total amount of that spend was. So this all looks good. I'm ready to work with this. If I say that I want to edit it and mark this as approved, the approval button is going to kick off a flow behind the scenes. And I'll show you a trick that's important for how this works. But if I come out of this, save, I didn't really make any meaningful changes, shrink this back down, come back here into the chat interface, you'll see I now have a new adaptive card that's been wired up for me. We'll talk this afternoon. I'm doing a session with Audrey about flow. We'll talk about how that adaptive card gets set up in the first place. But I want to go behind the scenes and talk about how that form gets constructed, because there's an important nuance for how we hand off information from Power Apps into flow. To do that, I have to actually start by taking a look at what that flow is. So this is the flow: storefront, send to teams, and approvals. Let's edit this flow. So you can see that this flow begins life with Power Apps. So it's going to be triggered from inside Power Apps. One of the steps here is create an approval for Teams adaptive card, post this adaptive card into a channel, and post a message and wait for an approval. But you'll see inside of each of these, we have the typical behavior inside flow, but it's asking me, what's the title going to be from? That parameter is coming from inside here, the ability to say inside Power Apps, how am I going to do work about this? And so the option that I have inside Power Apps allows me to ask in Power Apps. That's the key thing. Even though I'm going to start with Power Apps and move to Flow, you need to have an understanding of what the process is. So every parameter that Flow needs to consume back from inside Power Apps, we need to instantiate by saying ask in Power Apps. Why is that important? Because when I attach as you'll see in a second, when it's time for me to attach this flow back into the Power App, Power Apps needs to know what parameters the flow is going to be asking for before it can carry things forward. To be able to set up an approval, I need to know, for instance, where's I want to add a link to what that item is inside of the card. To get that, I don't want to interrogate it live every time. I want to be able to pass it over because I already had that context inside of the Power App. So, but let's take a look at the Power App Designer so you can see how all of this gets paid off. To do that, I'm going to jump into SharePoint, where this form originally was born. Let's look at my storefronts. And now let's look at customized forms. And Power Apps Designer is going to come up, but in this case, since the form is already there and already wired up, it's going to open up the form that I already have. This is a process I will tell you I have personally and painfully gone through many, many times. So we understand what the current state of this is. Power Apps forms, as yet, we do not have a way that you can export this form definition and attach it someplace else. So as we've been setting up demos, I've had to rebuild this form in each location. But don't worry, that is also a roadmap item that's coming in the second half of the year, the ability to package up a Power App in a flow with any of the list definitions and be able to instantiate that anywhere in your tenant, or to be able to package it up and give it to some other tenant to be able to come and set these up. So if I'm looking inside of the button here for approval, let's blow this up again so people can see more in the back of the room. So the onSelect action for this button, it invokes a particular flow that I've wired up here, storefront send to Teams, and you can see all the parameters that come in. When I attach a flow here, if I delete this flow and add it again, and add it again, there it is. At runtime, it understands what the particular, it's the only time it interrogates to see what parameters are there and available. So if you then go in and decide to change the flow and add additional parameters that you want to capture off of the Power App, you've got to go delete it and reattach it, so it's going to reinterrogate and come up right now. So we can see, for instance, the first thing that's out there is item link description, so we can look for title and start to fill that in. We can use title again for the name of what it is. We can do look up URL. I'm not going to look up each and one of these things, but that's the core thing that I have to be able to do, to be able to go and grab each of the items that are available for me in context on this form. If you're doing this at home, it is fairly common, and when I'm setting these things up, to jump back into the list and back into the structure of the list so that you can quickly toggle back and forth and see, for instance, what the name of each particular field is out there if I want to go and start grabbing those and attaching them in. So that's just a quick guide to how to do custom, some of the tricks with custom form instantiation inside of a PowerApps form attached to SharePoint. Let's come back to 5. Oh, I forgot one thing. Never mind. Something else that we have in preview right now is the ability to do custom forms on document libraries. So we've been looking at lists before, but something that we are hoping to ship around September this year lets me do the same capability to stand up a PowerApps form on top of a library. We know this is one of a myriad of classic InfoPath scenarios around content management, where people would set up custom fields on their document repositories, but then want to build a custom form experience so people could go in and modify that metadata. And so now, here we see Code Design Workshop. If I go in and look at the properties of this, you'll see what I'm calling up is now a PowerApps form. And the PowerApps form takes advantage of all the things PowerApps is great at, not just rendering the basic items that I already had in the list, that's kind of boring, but being able to reach out and interrogate, in this case, Microsoft Search, to look for related images that relate to this document that I might want to surface there. So I could come here and I can get all the same capabilities. If I want to change this kickoff date, I've got a nice picker, say change this to August 1st. And the same way that I can modify business data inside of a list, I can also update the metadata here in my library. And so that's a capability that will be coming into service by the end of this summer. Okay. Now I can come back to 5. Okay. So it just goes without saying that Microsoft Flow is something we've taken a big bet on across the suite. We are increasingly using Flow to deal with common scenarios that the service itself offers. Things like content approval and page approval, and anytime you're changing your information architecture by attaching groups to hubs, all of those things can now be governed through Microsoft Flow. The list in the lower right-hand corner is, of course, the full list of all the things that Flow can connect to. It's usually hard for me to finish talking on this slide before this. This usually won't get to the bottom by the time I get there. It's just really important as you're trying to articulate the mission for Flow to your users. We find it's very helpful to point to these 4 most common scenarios. Notifications and alerts, being able to copy data from one place to another, being able to collect data as needed from a user, and being able to trigger an approval. And we finished running. There are, at current time, there are 53 templates for Flow that relate to SharePoint, and nearly as many that tie out to OneDrive, about 3 dozen that relate to Teams. These templates are there to help you get started. You can, in many cases, start working with these templates directly without any modification, or you can use them as the basis to go in and add additional approvals. One of the things that we usually see organizations do is dealing with a simple approval of sending to one person and setting up a parallel track so that if that person hasn't responded in 7 days, what should happen? We don't know what should happen after 7 days, but you do. The answer may be if someone hasn't responded in 7 days, it should be rejected. Or it may be if someone hasn't rejected it in 7 days, it should be approved. Obviously, the business context and the business rules will determine that, but that's one of the most common scenarios that we see people taking an out-of-the-box approval template and using it to modify the line of what they're carrying forward. So I want to also talk a little bit about how we use Flow against PowerApps and being able to wire things up with Azure Cognitive Services. So for that, let me jump ahead to a different demo. So we are going to start, let me get this queued up here. And let's start on number 8. Okay. I know this is a little bit washed out, but this Power App we built using the standard 3-screen template generation where you get and we did it against a contacts list. And so with some minimal customization, this is the kind of user experience you can get where I have a browsable list of information. I can click in for a single item, and I have an edit screen. Nothing revolutionary in this. What I've done is I've added 2 things. One, to add a little polish, we've added a splash screen by being able to add the header and an image here and this menu bottom. And one of the things that we have here is a problem recognizer. So the problem recognizer here has a camera control on it. Let's line this right up here. Let's get a picture of a common airline cart. Take a picture of it. We can see it's there. I can say this is a service issue and say I want to send this selected image for processing. So a couple things are happening. One of the things that's happening right now is this file is being saved up into my SharePoint repository. Once it gets there, this is being passed over into Azure Cognitive Services. Azure Cognitive Services is comparing it to the current model and checking this, and in a couple of seconds, we can see it's identified what the problem is. It's come up and says, you have a problem with a cart. See link for advice. So let's open that link. Come on. It's not like there aren't hundreds of people watching you screen. Thank you. And so here's the notification. And the rationale for this is if a first-line worker, in this case, a flight attendant, is seeing a problem with a luggage cart or a baggage cart if there's a baggage cart coming down the aisle of your plane, something's gone very wrong. It's a drink cart. We want to give them some information that's right here and in context. So if they need to understand what's done, because the image recognizer can see what the problem is, it's going to direct them to a nicely formatted page with all the rules about what to handle, what to do when the drink cart goes awry. Our Wi-Fi is running a little bit slow here. Let's come back and just open that up again. There it is. Hopefully the Wi-Fi is better with GoGo in the air, so we're not by this point, the drink cart hasn't hurtled into the back of the plane, but here's the list of troubleshooting tips. Here's what the rules are for how to handle it, if it's a flight of 2 hours or less, if it's a flight of more than 2 hours. Here's the particular citations. Anyway, we're directing all that information to the person here in line. I am on 7. So here I am back inside of Teams. And one of the things that you'll see is inside of my airline alliance, which is the place at Contoso where we're working with our airline partners to test our equipment, we can see that not only have we picked up that we've given information directly to the first line worker, but we've also brought it back into the engineering team. So they can see there's been a newly reported issue that's here. Here's where the images are. So someone inside this can pick up and say, thanks. I know about this. Have Isaiah take a look and be able to bring it into a collaborative context with the rest of my organization. So let's take a look at how something like that gets built. And so the key glue here happens inside of PowerApps. So the place where all of those images are being captured is here, right here in the equipment defects library. So again, SharePoint sits in the back end. It's the common repository of lists and libraries that I can use to build PowerApps and be able to bring all those things up. Here's the image that I just took here on screen. So this has been passed up in real time, and back in the day, as recently as a year or two ago, we would have driven all this collaboration, all this processing directly through the SharePoint interface. And you can still do that, but you saw how we're able to use PowerApps and Teams to bring something that's much more forward-facing. The way that all of that magic works is inside of the Power App, we're wiring up Flow to handle two processes. One is the file save, and the other is passing information over into cognitive services so we can capture the image. And I'll talk in my Flow session this afternoon about that latter part, about how we are wiring up a cognitive services image. But I really want to talk just about the PowerApps image handling right now. PowerApps uses a slightly different binary rendering of the pictures that it takes from what Office 365 expects if I'm saving a JPEG. So if I want to process a new image, that is handled inside of this custom process that I built to handle it. Let's take a look at it. It's relatively straightforward flow that handles the conversion. We have that button. It's the same thing. When I'm wiring up a new Power App, a new flow inside of a PowerApps button, this will get built for me automatically. The key thing here is I am using a custom Azure function to deal with image conversion. I have a slide in the appendix of the deck, if you download it, to talk about how that Azure function needs to be set up. How many of you have never built an Azure function? Never. Okay. Oh, for shame, for shame, for shame. It's not that hard because I did it. And if you use the example that's out there, about all you need to do is you go into the Azure portal, you say, I want to set up a new function, you cut and paste this image conversion code, and it'll tell you what the URL is to paste in here. That's really all that's involved inside of this. And so this, once the image conversion is there, it knows we set up a connection back out to SharePoint, saying take whatever this Azure function gives back to you, make a file in this location with that name, and take the body as one of the properties directly off of the flow function that's up inside of there. That's how that Power App works fundamentally. As far as the rest of it goes, looking at my apps, that's better. For those of you who speak, when a sound engineer offers to set up your mic for you, let them do it. Okay. So this form, as I mentioned before, this app was built originally out of the standard thing that we get when we say I want to reach out and build a 3-screen mobile app. That we have a browse screen, a detail screen, and an edit screen. I've done a little bit of chroming around this. The two other things that I added, first is I added a custom screen. And in case you don't know this, when I set up a new screen, there's a couple of templates that are out there that I might want to set up. Whatever screen you list first will be the first screen that loads when someone sets up your app. So if I drag this up to the top, it would come first. I actually don't want this screen to be in my app, so I'm going to delete it. It's the splash screen that's out here. And this splash screen is what triggers my problem detector. So this just navigates over to my equipment screen. In my equipment screen, you'll see I just have a camera control wired up, standard camera control with nothing fancy on it. There's a gallery I've set up here, and the gallery captures all the images as I bring them up with however I tag them. And this button here is wired up to run that Power App. And as I mentioned before, being able to hand information off from Power Apps into Flow is powerful if I use parameters. In order to be able to pass this off, I need to know when did I run this, and I'm using the time to be able to convert this into a file name because I want to guarantee uniqueness of the file name. So I'm using a text string conversion to be able to pass this over. .jpeg is the name of the file, and then pass over a handle to whatever is currently selected in the photo. And again, because there's a different file format that we're using inside of a Power Apps gallery versus a JPEG file, we use the image conversion hook to be able to bring that forward. So doing this takes advantage of all the cognitive services that we take from Azure and we wire up across Office 365. As of today, those basically come into 3 categories. The first are things that I can automatically extract from data and images. There are things that we will do for you automatically. So when we see an image in the service, if we see that there are characters inside of it, we'll automatically pull those out and try to do text recognition against it so that we can use it for search and e-discovery and all the rest. If there are geotags, we're going to turn those into a location column. If it's a Word document and we see that we can do text analytics on the text of it, we can create a summary of the Word document and use it on the file card inside of Office 365. But object recognition is the core of what we looked at today. There are 35 objects that we recognize by default, things like this is a receipt, this looks like it's outdoors. And then using custom vision, you can set up your own recognition models that you can deploy now through AI Builder. We also take advantage, and we didn't look at text analytics today, but being able to look at things like sentiment or key phrase extract. Those are also available to you through the Flow connection into the Cog Services engine. And then we also make use of it throughout the service for auto-transcription. When you upload any digital media into Office 365, whether it's in stream or it's a picture or an audio or video file, we're able to auto-transcribe those so that to make them searchable and be able to light them up when you're navigating a transcript inside of, for example, stream. So I want to talk a little bit about some of the resources that are available to you. First and foremost, our business application partner program. We are currently open for another 3 days, accepting new partner applications for this. If you're a partner, that we'd love to talk to you about this. But every one of these partners has been selected for proven expertise and for proving that they've been successful for multiple customer deliveries over and over again. We have a great arsenal of partners, many of whom are out here on the expo floor, who are able to deal with the consulting and advisory services in one instance, or implementation, as well as our ISV partners who are dealing with challenges of things like workflow and compliance and data visualization, et cetera. So I'd encourage you to visit our site or visit our partners out on the expo to learn more. One organization that has done this, I think, amazingly well is Marks & Spencer. I'll talk in a minute about what Marks and Spencer did, but first I actually want to show you the video of what they did. So hang on. Leave.
Marks and Spencer is a
let's take it back.
Which we operate across. Marks and Spencer is a global brand which we operate across many different countries.
In an average month, the store manager needs to look out for 13 to 14 promotions.
I think historically what we've really relied on is paper and sending out calendars of these are the things and the times of things that are happening in your store.
We looked into a process where store managers could have a simpler process of what activity is going on in the store. We discovered PowerApps and we decided to just use it as a model, use that activity app as a model of what PowerApps does.
Currently, when you use PowerApp, we're able to build applications easily. Earlier, it used to be like takes nearly month and month for developing application. Now, because of PowerApps, we're able to develop your application in 2 to 3 weeks time. Even complex applications we're able to develop.
The knock-on of that is that we can deliver solutions a lot quicker.
Using SharePoint lists and PowerApps, our activity app lets us track new promotions and efficiently distribute them to store managers across all of our locations.
They can go into that particular area, they can look at that key event, and they can then press on that. And then what that does is takes them to the actual documents that they need to view. So not only can they see when the events were happening, they could actually see the document itself and actually read the document whilst on the shop floor.
Activity app was a huge success for both the head office and the stores. They were easily communicating each other for passing information and all this stuff.
It's meant that time spent trying to get onto workstation has been reduced, and therefore they're freeing up time to be more facing to our customers, more on the shop floor, and therefore adding much more value to their roles.
Our next step will be allowing our store managers to communicate with customers with personalised emails.
Microsoft Teams, I think, as a product is fantastic. The value that it adds is bringing everything together that we do into one place. I think having Microsoft technology has meant that we can deliver things a lot quicker than what we've previously done.
It's a competitive landscape and we need to stay ahead, and using SharePoint, PowerApps and Flow enables us to do that.
So, Marks and Spencer was, for us, a really fascinating study. Shut up. This is just... It's doing another Marks and Spencer case study. If you love Marks and Spencer, I could put it back on. Little side detail about that case study. Is that I was on site for the filming. And because of GDPR, we actually were not able and didn't want to use any actual customers in the Oxford Street store. So everyone that you see shopping in that is a member of the crew or a member of Marks and Spencer's own staff pretending to shop for the things that they're usually selling. And I was on camera for some of it. I also realized, and you can see me in the background very briefly, if you pay close attention, this filming was happening 4 weeks before Christmas. And since there was video proof that I had spent 6 hours in a department store, there was no way I was going to get away from telling my girlfriend, oh, I didn't have a chance to buy anything for you while I was in London. So there's a light purple coat you see on the rack that they're displaying, and I was like, oh, I think, and so if you meet Michelle and you see her in the winter, she's wearing one of those coats. What I love about what Marks and Spencer did is they were able to do it with in-house staff. They had a process that they were replacing, which was based on paper and based on having an intranet and sending emails out telling store managers, there's a promotion you should go look at. one of the things that they looked at, obviously in retail, same-store sales are a prime measure year over year. One of the things that distinguished their best performers is the amount of time that their managers and their assistant managers actually spend on the selling floor. And from a customer perspective, Marks & Spencer has multiple lines. They have automotive, they have home, they have clothing, they have food. The customer doesn't want to be told when they're talking to someone in the clothing lines, hey, when are the cranberry tea breads going on sale for the holidays? Being told, I don't know, I don't work there. So being able to have all that information about what's going on day to day, week to week, month to month, at everyone's hands was a powerful way that they could use PowerApps to put that out into their managers and assistant managers' hands. The next step that they're taking on is they are using that when a new promotion starts, a manager can see that there's a promotion. They can, if they choose to, add their own text to the promotion, take a picture of themselves in the store, hit a button which passes it in to their Dynamics automation system, and will generate an email out to all of the customers who are registered who are in that store's radius. And so they're able to do all of that through PowerApps right there on the show floor, and they turned that around in a couple of weeks. So I think it's just a great example of what the Power Platform can do with Office 365. Their study and other customer stories like that are available in our Customer Story Resource Center, available at the URL on screen. So now we're approaching the time where I want to talk through what is coming up on the roadmap. InfoPath, SharePoint Designer. Would you like to see the roadmap for those? Yep. Yeah, there's no roadmap. I want to be very clear about this. I wrote this statement over 3 years ago, and it hasn't changed. And so we've been running into customers who think that, well, they haven't reminded us that they're dead, so maybe they're coming back to life. And that's not the case. SharePoint Designer and InfoPath are deprecated. End of support for on-prem is 2026. We really think there's no reason that you shouldn't be able to build successor tools for those with PowerApps and Flow now. Access services, already deprecated, already moved from online. So we really think that PowerApps and Flow have closed the gap, have covered all of the critical scenarios. And if you're launching a new project, please, please, please don't do it in InfoPath or SharePoint Designer. Okay. In terms of the rest of the roadmap, here's the slide. Take a picture. I'll get out of the way. There's a lot that's coming across SharePoint, across PowerApps and Flow. We've broken this into stuff that's available soon or soonish. That's usually stuff that is in rollout right now or will be in rollout over the next month or so. Later this year, these are things that are on track to be released by 12/31 of the year. And then top of mind, these are things where we don't have a date. They may be this year, they may be next year, but they're absolutely things that are not just on the backlog, but that we're actively designing and working on the best ways to get those out. You can expect to see most of the things on this slide, even in the right-hand column, by the end of the year. And I'll be able to take a few questions on those. I think we're just about at time. So yes? So the best way to find out when things are going to be implemented is there's two clues. First is on the public roadmap, roadmap.office.com. We'll indicate when something is moving, when the dev cycle and when we're about to start rolling it out. And then at the beginning of a rollout section, we'll put it into the Office 365 Message Center. So I'll take a few more questions in a second. I really just want to point you, the one resource that makes the most sense here is this resource center at the top of the screen. All of our case studies are downloadable templates to get started with PowerApps on Office 365. Videos, white papers, and more at SharePoint-BizApps. That's the URL that's up there. So that links out to the roadmap. All that information is there. That said, I'm around for a session on Flow this afternoon. I can take questions down here at the front. Thank you very much.